Okay, final exam review. Number 1, integrate, where both things can be divided by x. We're just going to use some basic algebra. 3x to the 5th divided by x, and 5x squared divided by x. Now we can use our basic integration formula, add 1 and divide by it. 3x to the 5th over 5 minus 5x squared over 2 and plus c. Okay, on number 2 we can see that the power is one smaller on top. So we need to think about du over u. U is what's on bottom. Du, 5x to the 4th. Du would be 20x cubed dx. Okay, we don't have the 20, but we can multiply it in as long as we balance it. Okay, so that gives us du over u. The integral is the ln. And put it back in terms of x. Okay, number 3, find the area between two things. First, let's find out where those two things intersect. Okay, which would be where they're equal to each other since they're both equal to y. Okay, since we have 2x on both sides, those cancel. So we have negative x squared equals negative 4. So x squared equals positive 4. So x equals plus or minus 2 is where those intersect. Okay, now let's graph them. Let's make a table. Okay, y equals 2x minus 4 and y equals 2x minus x squared. Okay, let's do from negative 3 to 3. Of plugging in. Okay, so I'm going to go down and do 2x minus 4 for each of the x's. Okay, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 minus 4. Okay, I'm just plugging in. Okay, now I'm going to plug in negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And minus. Okay, now the squares are all going to be positive, so this is going to be minus 3 squared is 9. Okay, just plugging in x. For each of these. Okay. now. Okay, 2x minus 4 is a line. Okay, it starts at 0, -4. Okay, we're going to do this line in purple. It starts at 0, -4. Okay, and it goes up 2 and over 1. Okay, so let's plot some more of these points. -3, -10, -2, -8, -1, 6. Okay, I've already got 1, -2. Now I need 2, 0, and 3, 2. Okay, the reason I went to 3 and -3 is because the graphs intersect at -2 and 2. So I wanted to go one more out from there. Okay, now the parabola is upside down because it's got y equals -x squared. Okay, so 3, -15, I'm not going to be able to fit that in there, but it would be down here somewhere, all the way at the bottom. Okay, -2, -8. Okay, remember that they're intersecting at -2 and +2 at x equals, okay, when we solve. Okay, -1, -3. Okay, the parabola goes through 0, 0. The parabola goes through 1, 1. Parabola goes through 2, 0, which is another place where they intersect. And then at 3, it's -3. So this is what the parabola, whoops, sorry, it's hard to draw on my iPad. This is what the parabola looks like. Okay, so it keeps going down, keeps going down. Okay, so we can see where it intersects at x equals -2 and x equals +2. Okay, so we're finding this area in between. -2 and 2. Okay, the parabola is higher, so when we integrate the parabola, it gives us the area all the way, but we need to subtract off the area that's underneath the line. Okay, that's why we subtract, because we want the area just in between. So the parabola is higher, so we're integrating between -2 and 2 of the parabola minus the line. Going to distribute the negative of the subtraction. Okay, 2x minus 2x cancels. So we get -x squared plus 4 dx, which is -x cubed over 3 plus 4x between -2 and 2. We plug in 2. 2 cubed is 8. Minus, now we plug in negative 2. Negative 2 cubed is negative 8. Okay, negative 2 cubed is negative 8, but it says negative x cubed, so that's like a negative 1 times a negative 8. Okay, so this is 8 over 3, and 4 times negative 2 is minus 8. 4 times 2, distribute the negative. Okay, and use your calculator for the rest. That's 32 divided by 3. Okay, number 4, the volume generated by revolving the region bounded by the given lines and the x-axis. Okay, and the revolved around the region of y equals x squared, bounded by y equals 0, x equals 4, revolved around the x-axis. Okay, that's a parabola. If you plug in 1, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. Actually, let's make this have more in the higher up, and they'll have more room higher up. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, and it said x equals 4, so that's why I'm still going. Let's see, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, now it said the y-axis. Okay, so we're bounded by right here. This is the y-axis, so we're not going to go into any negative x's. Okay, so it's revolved around the x-axis. Okay, so it's revolved around here, rotated around here, which means my radius is here. These are radius. Okay, remember volume is pi r squared times h. Okay, so this is the radius, which is y, which is x squared. So we've got pi. Our radius is x squared, but we square it. And the height is x, okay? The height is x, but x changes, so it's dx. So we're integrating from 0 to 4, x squared squared is x to the 4th. So we're integrating x to the 4th, which is x to the 5th over 5, from 0 to 4, with pi on the outside. So 4 to the 5th over 5 minus 0 to the 5th over 5. Okay, 4 to the 5th is 1024. And we have our over 5 and our pi. Okay, this asks for dy dx. Okay, the derivative of the ln, you put the derivative of what's inside. Derivative of sine is cosine. And you also take, when you take the derivative of sine, you also take the derivative of the angle. So that's 4x cubed. And then on bottom, you put the original function. So that's 4x cubed. Cosine over sine is cotangent. Okay, integrate e. The 7 is an extra number that we don't need. When you have e, u is the exponent. We need du, which is 4x dx. We don't have 4, so we multiply on 4 and divide on the outside. So now we have 4e to the 4x dx. So that's e to the u du. And the integral of e to the u is e to the u. But u is 4x. Okay, now we integrate from 0 to 3. I like to do my number on the outside. So I plug in 3, 4x, 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 0 is 0. E to the 0 is 1. Okay, integrate. Okay, anytime you have plus, you just integrate each thing separately. Okay, we always need the derivative of the angle. So I need a 4 here. Okay, but it's the integral of sine. The derivative of cosine is negative sine, so I really need a negative right there. Okay, same thing here. I need a 2 for the derivative of 2x. Now I'm going to write this as cosine 2x over sine 2x. Okay, the integral of sine, the integral of a negative sine is cosine. So that's minus 1/4 cosine 4x plus 1/2. This is du over u, because the derivative of sine is cosine. So this is ln sine 2x. Okay, this is a product rule because we have two separate things here. Okay, so we take the derivative of 4x, rewrite. Now rewrite 4x. Now we take the derivative of tangent. So the inverse tangent, okay, you take the derivative of the 3x and you do 1 plus u squared. So that's 3x squared. So 4x times 3 is 12x, and 3x squared is 9x squared. Okay, 1 over x squared plus 1, that is the interval, that integral is the inverse tangent, or arctan, same thing. Integrate from 0 to 1. So we need the arctan of 1 minus the arctan of 0. Okay, tangent is y over x. So to get an inverse tangent of 1, that's when the top and bottom are equal. So y over x would divide to 1. That happens at pi over 4. Okay, the arctan of 0, arctan of 0 is 0. And that happens when y equals 0 and x equals 1. And that is at the angle 0. So this is pi over 4. Okay, now the derivative of 4x is 4, so this x is extra. So we're going to need to split this up into u and dv. U is 2x, du is 2 dx, dv is e to the 4x dx. That makes v 1/4 e to the 4x. Okay, now it's uv, so 2x times 1/4 e to the 4x minus the integral of v du. Okay, do a little algebra. 2x over 4 is x over 2. Okay, do some more algebra. The 1/4 times the 2 inside there would be 1/2. Okay, the integral of e to the 4x is 1/4 e to the 4x. And multiply the 1/2 and the 1/4. Okay, how are we getting 1/4 e to the 4x? When you integrate e to the 4x, u is your 4x, so you need du, which is 4. So you times in the 4 times the 1/4 on the outside. So that becomes 1/4 e to the u du, which is 1/4 e to the 4x. Okay, this is our final answer here at the bottom on the left. Okay, halfway through. Okay, first we need to rewrite those as their exponents. So this is 1/3, sorry, 1/2. X to the 1/2 plus x to the 1/3. Add 1 and divide by it. 1/2 plus 1 is 3/2. Divide by 3/2 is multiply by 2/3. X to the 1/3, we add 1, we'll get 4/3. Divide by 4/3 is to multiply by 3/4. Okay, plus C. And on this one, the multiple choice just leaves it like the powers. You don't have to put it back in the root. Okay, so I have something raised to a power. That square root is the power. And the derivative of 3z squared would be 6z. So that means I can take out this 9 and I can use the u substitution because the derivative, I've got the z, I just need the right number. Okay, so u substitution, du would be 6z dz. Okay, so that means multiply 6, divide by a 6. Okay, and this, that makes this 3z squared minus 7 to the 1/2 power. Now I'm going to do my substitution. Six c dz is du. 3z squared minus 7 is u, so that's u to the 1/2. Okay, now we can add 1 and divide. That would be u to the 3/2. Divide by 3/2 is 2/3. So that's 18 over 18, u to the 3/2. Okay, so that's just u to the 3/2. And put that back in terms of u. Okay, anytime you see a division, look to see if the top is the derivative of the bottom, which it is. Okay, if u is the bottom, du would be 7 cosine x dx. So that just means I need a 7, a 1/7, okay, so that means I have 1/7 integral of du over u, which is ln of u, which is ln of the bottom, 1 plus 7 sine x. Okay, 14. Okay, the derivative of the cosine is negative sine. So it looks like I have u on bottom. and du would be negative sine of t. Okay, so that means I need a negative sign. So we'll have a -1 to balance. Okay, I'm multiplying in a negative inside and out front to balance. Okay, I'm going to put it in terms of u. Sine t, the negative sine t and dt is du. Okay, now the 10 plus cosine is u, but it's on the bottom raised to the 6, so it's u to the -6. So we add 1 and divide by it. Okay, the -1 divided by the -5 is going to become positive. Okay, negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. The u to the -5 comes to the bottom, so that's an understood 1. So that would be 1/5. Put u back in terms of its original problem. Okay, and on this one, we're going to take it back down to the bottom. The u to the -5 is going to come back down to the bottom. Okay, take the derivative. So y prime, the derivative of the ln, you put the thing on bottom. You take put the derivative on top. Okay, we're doing du over u. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. But we also need the derivative of the angle. The derivative of ln is 1. Derivative of ln of theta is 1 over theta. So we're going to have a theta at the bottom. Okay, so this is negative. Sine over cosine is tangent. Okay. The integral of 3e to the 3x dx, u is 3x, du is 3 dx. So this is e to the u du. The integral of e is e. So this is just e to the 3x. Okay, the derivative just happened to already be in there. Okay, this is our basic integral. Okay, just making sure we know how to use the limits. Evaluate the definite integral. So add 1 and divide by it. Okay, we're going to plug in 1. Plug in -1. Distribute the negative. Oh, I messed up right here. I'm integrating 1. Sorry about that. The integral of 1 is x. Integral of 1 is x. So I plug in 1, plug in -1, distribute the negative, and that comes out to 8/3. Okay, we're going to use integration by parts. Ln is going to be our u, and 5x dx is going to be our dv. Okay. Anytime you have ln, that you want that to be your u, because we can't integrate ln. So du is 1 over x. V would be 5x squared over 2. So it's u times v minus the integral of v times u. Do some algebra inside and take out that 5 over 2. X squared divided by x is x. The integral of x is x squared over 2. And multiply those 2's in the denominator. Okay, this is also integration by parts. 4x is going to be our u, because it will get easier. When you take the derivative of e to the x, it's the same thing, so it doesn't do anything to take the derivative. So u is 4x, du is 4 dx, dv is e to the x, so v equals e to the x. The integral of e is e. So it's u times v minus the integral of v times du. Okay. We can take that 4 outside. The integral of e is e. Okay, powers. Since the sign is odd, it's going to get split up. Into sine squared times sine. Sine squared is 1 minus cosine squared. Okay, now the derivative of cosine is sine. Okay, let me just rewrite. what we had on our last line. Okay, so if u is cosine 4x, du is negative 4 sine of 4x. Okay, so multiply my negative 4, multiply my negative 1/4 on the outside. Okay, so negative 4 sine 4x, all of that is du. Cosine squared is u squared. And inside the parentheses, cosine squared is u squared. Distribute the u squared. Okay, this is always the goal, to get something to a power. So we can use our regular integration rules. Add, divide. Add, divide. Okay, put it back in terms of the problem. Cosine cubed of 4x over 3 minus cosine to the 5th of 4x over 5. Okay, now we're going to plug in. We plug in what were our limits from 0 to what? Being 0 to pi over 2. So negative 1/4 cosine of 4x, so that's 4 times pi over 2. And this is cubed over 3 minus cosine to the 5th of 4x, so 4 times pi over 2 over 5, minus, okay, cosine cubed is 0. Okay, I'm just going ahead and doing that. 4x times 0 is 0. Okay, I'm plugging in 0 now, so I've got minus my parentheses, cosine to the 5th of 0 over 5. Okay, so this is cosine 4 times pi over 2 is 2 pi. Four times pi over 2 is 2 pi. Okay, 0 and 2 pi are the same angle. 0 and 2 pi are the same angle, and they have a cosine of 1. Okay, so this is 1/3, and this is 1/5. Okay. Cosine of 2 pi is 1. 1 cubed is 1. Same thing. Cosine of 2 pi is 1. 1 to the 5th is 1. I'm going to distribute the negative. Okay, and you'll see that comes out to 0. And that's the end of our review.